The federal government should pay for your education. Unfortunately, not everybody agrees with me, so I guess that isn't the end of this speech. Um, the majority of careers in our country and honestly around the world, uh, in the world we live in today, um, most jobs require some form of post secondary education. In fact, a report by Georgetown University in 2020 found that 65% of jobs in the U.S. require post secondary education in one form or another, whether that be a bachelor's degree or a specialized trade degree. Um, the fact of the matter is, more and more jobs are requiring post secondary education. And unfortunately, the federal government has not yet deemed that to be a right. Um, Whereas a formal education to the level of a high school diploma is a right. And while that's certainly better than nothing, it isn't quite what we need as a society moving forward. Um, a hallmark of a growing and evolving civilization is the level of information that the common man understands. In Roman times, it was the sky's blue and the gods are angry. And that's extremely reductive and obviously for humor, but that's the general idea, is people were dumber back then than we are now. And that will be the exact same, hopefully it will be the exact same way 100 years from now, where they will know much more than we do. It's like Louis Armstrong says, they'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And for that to continue to be true, there is obviously a requirement of raising the baseline of education. And by doing that, we continue to grow and thrive as a civilization, and hopefully, as a species and a civilized nation. I have another report from the National Bureau of Economic Research. They found that the educational attainment of a state's population by just 1% can lead to a 1.5% increase in that state's gross domestic product. I had to read that one straight from the quote because that was a little crazy. Essentially, what that means is for every 1% of educated individuals in an area, their economy boosted by 1.5%. That is extremely reductive, and the simplest, almost too simple terms to put it, but essentially that's what they're saying, is that they have found that the higher the level of education, the more money they make. And if you've ever met a grandma, that's exactly what they'll tell you. Go to school for a long time and you'll be able to get a good job and make good money. That's why we're all here, isn't it? We want to make more money. It makes the world go round. But essentially, the idea that the government is not providing this as a basic resource in this era is quite frankly criminal. Used to. Post secondary education was a very prestigious achievement. Now it's extremely commonplace and hopefully becomes more common as we move forward. Um, and I believe that the best way to do that is for the government to fund that endeavor for every single American. Um, every year, I don't have a source for the statistic because I've heard it so many times. Every year, the government spends upwards of $600 billion on the military. Um, Here lately, that seems like it might be a better idea than not, just because of what's going on over in Eastern Europe. But $600 billion, that that's such a high number that most people can't fathom how much money that is. And a fraction of that into any other department, whether it be the Department of Education, which is where I think it should go, um, any other part of the government, if they had that much money, Congress would be in an uproar about how much money's being wasted there. But we won't talk about the military. Oh, no, 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 no. In fact, I think I hear someone knocking on my door right now. But while I'm still alive, and if anything happens to me, it wasn't me. Um, God. No, in all seriousness, um, we are too affluent of a nation to be this dumb. Uh, I think that's the simplest way I can put it. Um, yeah, I think that's about it. Thank you.